I look at this little picture and it's so cute and it's so cozy. And I look at my sleep at the moment and the sleep of a lot of people around me. And I think it's fairly broken. I know mine's definitely changed since we've been thrown into this chaos. So I wanted to have a little bit of a chat about sleep. And the reason is because sleep is one of the pillars of health that we look at in Ayurveda. So we look at a circadian rhythm disruption. So Ayurveda is a natural way of living and a natural way of being. And when we follow an Ayurvedic lifestyle, we look at all of the energies around us that make us special and us unique. And then knowing this, we do a lifestyle and a diet based on this information, and this helps to keep us healthy. And when that natural rhythm is disrupted, for example, by sleep, then this can throw us off. And this can be from factors that are naturally within us, like intrinsic factors, or it can be from extrinsic factors, like the coronavirus and what's going on at the moment. It might also be from neurological disorders, psychological disorders, or metabolic disorders, cardiovascular disease. But at the moment, I'm really focusing on the extrinsic factors and some of the things that we might be able to do just to help us along the track just a little bit more. So I said that sleep is one of the cornerstones of health, and good sleep is really essential for us to feel energized and recharged for the next day. It helps our body to repair, it helps our mind to repair, and helps us to begin to let go a little bit. So no matter wherever we are in the time zones, our daily life can be divided into Vata, Pitta, and Kapha time. So in Vata time, that's around the time of 2 till 6, both AM and PM. And in this time, there's lots of movement. So there are actually times that we want to go to bed, and we want to go to bed in Kapha time. And this Kapha time is between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. And if we go to bed in this time, we can take that earthy, natural, heavy quality that exists in this state of time, and it can help us relax and let go with that earthy, heavy quality. If we go to bed after 10 o'clock, we might find that it's a little bit harder to sleep and we get that second wind. This is going into that Pitta type time, and this is when it's fiery and we've got a little bit more movement and a little bit more stimulation. It can also change around. When the sun rises, we get up. When we hear the birds sing, that's our signal. Okay, let's work with the natural rhythm. And if you look at this from an Ayurvedic perspective as well, we might say, hey, there's lots of movement around this time. This is the time to get up. This is the time to begin to feel stimulated and move the day. So I said that there are 4 pillars of health in Ayurveda. 1 is sleep. 1 is the breath. 1 is diet, and 1 is elimination. And we can look at all of these pillars in our body and in our mind, and we can get a bit of a picture as to how healthy we actually are at this stage. So then we say, what is sleep? And this comes from the traditional text, the Charaka Samhita. And sleep is described as being when the mind, including all of the sensory and motory organs, are exhausted, and for a time being, they disassociate themselves from their object and the individual sleeps. And we can let go. And some of the effects of sleep, happiness, nourishment, strength, knowledge, maybe also ignorance, emaciation, and weakness. And this is all dependent on the quality of our sleep. One of the things that I ask people in Ayurveda, do you wake up easily or are you a heavy sleeper? And when you wake up, do you feel like you're energized or do you still feel that little bit of sluggish? So we can work out what is the right amount of sleep for us. But how do you know if it's too much for you or too little for you? It might be that we're not getting enough because of overwork or because of fear or stress or older age or disease or Vata imbalance. And we might need a little bit more towards the older stage of our life. This is known as our Vata stage of our life. And we might need a little bit less around our middle age. We might need a little bit more if we're already a little bit jittery and a little bit flighty. We might need a little bit less if we're feeling a little bit heavy and sluggish already. So it's very individual. We can't say that generally this is how much sleep we should get. But we can say at the moment that there's lots of fear around us and there's lots of stress around us. And we're almost into this fourth stage of stopping, and it's an unknown space at this time. And so a lot of us might find that our sleep is being affected. And this might come from fear. And this fear can also lead to a state of vata imbalance. There's too much air and space around us. So picture this. There's different types of sleep. Some are caused by heaviness, that might be tamas. Some might be caused by kapha, earth and water being too high. You might be too mentally stimulated or too physically exhausted. It might be that there's a disease state that's affecting disease, or it might just be a type of sleep where at night, this is when we go to sleep. But, if there's too much movement, it's hard to sleep. I can't switch off. I've got all these things rolling in my head. Or maybe I'm not sure what's going to happen. You can't sleep. When there's stress, I've got so much to do. I don't know how I'm going to cope. There's this tension in the body. You can't sleep. And when you're feeling depressed and when things are just too heavy, you might get too much sleep, but it's not a good quality sleep. So these are some really basic recommendations that we can do to help support sleep. First thing is a massage. And before you tell me we can't do massage at the moment, I'm talking about personal massage. So getting a little bit of a ritual together, putting some warm oil, whichever oil you choose, making sure that it's warm, because sleep will thrive on that warmth. And then just taking some time, nice area, and rubbing that warm oil into the body. And maybe even putting some on the top of the head and the soles of the feet. A warm bath. Again, I'm saying warm, not hot, but warm. Eating foods that are heavy, eating foods that are warm, eating foods that have been really well cooked can put us into that sleep-inducing state, and foods that have more of that sweet taste. And I'm not talking about sugar. I'm talking about things like milk or rice or sweet potato, things that have that more sweet, heavy, nourishing taste. Having pleasant smells around you. One of the things that I like to do at the moment is to put on my eye bag over my eyes. I've made this myself. And I've put some lavender from the garden and some rice, and that's pushing the muscles in my eyes with that heaviness and allowing my eyes to relax, the eye muscles to relax. And I've got that scent of lavender that's starting to induce sleep. Just touching the body, just being aware and having that physical contact, trying to tell those sensory organs just to start to relax. And as I said, specifically touching warm oil on the feet, on the head, and over the face, just stimulating, being aware, going to bed at the proper time. And even though our life at the moment has gone chaotic, keeping as much routine and as much structure as we possibly can. Instead of sleeping in the morning, because we can, getting up, keeping that circadian rhythm. Instead of staying up a little bit later to watch the movie or maybe another movie because we don't have anything to do tomorrow, choosing to go to bed instead before 10 o'clock and keeping that regular routine, working with that circadian rhythm and making sure meal times are the same, having breakfast at the same time, having lunch at the same time, having dinner at the same time, keeping that natural rhythm, everything flowing naturally. And that may help some of that fear, and that may help some of that anxiety that prevents us from getting proper sleep. So just remembering, looking at your 4 pillars of health: sleep, breathing, diet, and elimination. And we are our best people to be able to keep ourselves as healthy naturally as we possibly can. And it might take a little bit of time and it might take a little bit of effort, But if we can keep ourselves as balanced as we can, then we're on our way to keeping ourselves hopefully as fit and healthy. Thank you. Take care. Keep well.